get started.
Nick.
Yes, George.
Thank you for opening up the studio.
Thank you for coming all the way from Broussard to here.
You almost left me no choice. I think when we were talking, I told you where the studio was. I think I heard the phone drop. Yeah. There was some swearing in the background. Some things were breaking. I was like, okay, relax.
I'm always like, I'm visiting another country when I cross that bridge. I'm like, I used to think like that bridge might fall one day. I'm not going there.
My passport isn't up to date.
Yeah.
No, but it's great. It's great to be here, and I appreciate it. And it's just funny, man. I feel like, and you were training a couple friends before, so when I walked in, it was like total, comfort level. But I just feel, and I had the same feeling with Terry Lindor. I don't know if you know him. He's this this creative guy. He's an influencer, and I told him the exact same thing. There's this thing that social media does, and you almost feel like you know the person. Like I feel like I've known you for years, probably because I've been following you on your channel, and we're meeting now for the very first time. It's the most weird thing.
See, I get that from people because I've met people in the social media, and it's hard sometimes because sometimes they're authentic to who they really are on camera or what they post. Yeah. And sometimes they are the complete opposite. It's a persona, it's a character, and
it's fake, like the thing online.
It's fake, and I tell people, like, I mean, I'm on social media because of my work and because of what I do. If I wasn't, I don't see the need to be there, right? So, and I mean, so much, and I tell people this is very important, and they wanted me to go to the university and talk about social media and how to build your business, and it's a fake world, and sometimes people need to remember that. And all these social media influencers, all this can crash in a second.
So wait, they wanted you to go and teach kids how to post on social media or how to become influencers?
No, basically like how social media helps in your business, right? Like they teach this in school now because times have changed. You know what I mean? I just like you, we've been through the transition where, I was working at 13, at 16, I was at McDonald's. I've been like, we used to do business the old way where you had to meet the person, sit down, shake their hands. You had to prove. Now it's like, it's a virtual type of connection that's kind of not real to a certain extent. And, and at some point it has to become real. And the only way to do it is to actually meet the person. So, but there's amazing benefits to having social media and that presence and being able to build your name, your brand, and your business.
Yeah. No, but there's a huge impact, right? The social media has brought, like you said, obviously in business and in just people that want to be, they want to do what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
They have a passion and they just want to share it with the world.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how social media has just shifted things.
See, like, I mean, it's a true story, right? I was at the restaurant and the girl's like, oh my God, I've seen you on YouTube. I recognize you. Oh, she goes, I love your self-defense stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. She goes, I'm an influencer too. I'm on social media. I got like 20,000 followers. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, what do you do? She goes, here. It's her in a G-string sitting on a chair over and over. So I looked at her and I'm like, well, what do you do? She goes, and I wanted to let her know. She's like 20 years old. I wanted to like, what are you actually giving back to society? Yeah. How are you influencing? How are you making people grow? How are you challenging them? Whatever it is, what is the value that I'm getting by watching you sit on a chair with your G-string? Yeah. And that's the fake part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even that, I mean, it can lead to endorsements and modeling contracts and a bunch of other stuff. Who knows what people are in these days? But yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff like that too.
But you see, how do I explain it? The problem with that, and this is the younger generation. My son's 11, 12. He's probably going to get into it. I want to let him know it's not a real world, and that if all this crashes one day, what happens to all these influencers or these people in social media who think their life crashes in 1 second. And here's something very interesting, right? Your YouTube, your Instagram, your Facebook, you don't own any of them. Yeah. The platform owns them. At any point, they want to shut you down for whatever reason, they can. And I went through it through YouTube. I'll say it openly here, I used to make thousands a month on YouTube. Thousands. I'll say it openly. I've made up to $3,000-$5,000 a month. Just residual income off YouTube. It's fucking awesome. Now it's down to hundreds. Why? They changed the algorithm. They changed the platform and they said, hey, you want to stick around? You stick around. You don't? Too bad. And if I would have based my life on what I made on these social medias,
It's over.
I'd
yeah.
be screwed.
Yeah.
So that's the lesson I've learned that I'm able to share when I see people who want to go on social media and try to understand, like still build your brand irrelevant of what you're doing.
But it's crazy though, because there's a lot of creatives that took a hit there with this new YouTube.
Like, I mean, when I was on, I went on the what was it called, Dave Shapiro show in Toronto, and we were talking about that, and then we were talking about some of the guests he's had. Some of these guys were making 30, 40, 50 grand and just boom, slashed 60, 70%. And again, people were pissed. I'm like, why are you pissed? It's kind of like you're renting a space from YouTube to promote what you do, and at any point they could do whatever they want. So I tell people, unless you have your own platform, your own website, your own a mailing list, you have nothing.
Yeah.
You have just a bunch of people who are following you. At any point, you're the flavor of the month, and tomorrow the next guy comes and he becomes the next guy they're going to follow.
Yeah. But it's true though, because there's nothing really like YouTube, at least so far.
Yeah.
Right? So it's you either live with it or you're done. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. There's nothing to compete.
Nothing, and I don't see anything so far. Like, people are like, oh, there's this platform, that platform. Nothing's ever come close to YouTube. I think it's too big for something for now to go to YouTube. And that's why they could do what they want.
Yeah.
And they basically say, you don't like it, get off, go somewhere else. They don't care. So I've learned now, well, how do I use my YouTube channel? I promote my programs that I sell online. I promote like my brand and my business. And the other things I do, I don't wait for Google to pay me anymore. So that's businesses, you're constantly shifting, and you got to follow the trends and the waves and adapt every time.
Wow. Let's just start from the beginning. Maybe certain people maybe don't know who you are. You're a local kid from Montreal.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. How do you become who you are today? And just to get everyone a little bit more aware, you've, like we've just said, you've known a lot of success on YouTube. You have several channels. I think you have 3 channels.
Yeah, 3 channels.
And you have like over 500,000 subscribers and a total of over 100 million views.
That many.
That's huge.
I know it's pretty. Sometimes things just fall in place without us planning stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the universe gives you an opportunity, and you say, do you take it or you don't take it? It was really by fluke when I started the YouTube channel. I was actually pursuing my acting career, which I loved acting, which is you're still an entertainer when you're in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what? I was like, I just turned 30. I'm like, screw this acting thing. 5 years, it's too much work. I mean, you're going audition after audition, never getting anything. And you're like, you know what? YouTube, I just started. I'm like, you know what? Let me look at this YouTube. You know what? Let me do what I love, which is self-defense, fitness. Let me open a YouTube channel and just post my stuff. Now, I had no awareness, no idea of anything. I just wanted to share my passion for teaching.
Yeah.
And it was to my complete, by complete fluke that I jumped on the wave at the right time as it grew. Mm-hmm. And as my channel grew, and as well the consistency of me posting. And then I looked at it as, oh shit, I'm building a brand. I'm building a business.
Yeah.
And then I reshifted and I said, okay, now I got to do it differently than I used to do it.
Yeah. How long did it take for you to realize that, oh my God, this is growing past what I ever imagined?
When I hit about 150,000 followers.
It took that long.
Yeah,
I would have realized that in my case. 100, wow, yeah.
Well, you see, there's a post on Facebook, and I said, I was at 15,000 subscribers. I go, my goal is 50,000, and this and that. I made my vision board about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Right, my son was born. I said, okay, what do I really want from my life? And I wrote down everything, exactly what I wanted, and I set a 10-year plan. I sold myself short. Mm-hmm. I achieved everything I wanted to achieve. I traveled. I did seminars around the world. I'm booking more seminars now. UK. I might go to England. UK. I might go to Ireland as well. Do another seminar in Greece. Everything I wanted, I achieved and I got to. So I said to myself, I sold myself short because I was never expecting me to get to that point. But again, with the whole social media, as I got into it and it grew, at the same time, I was learning through just actually doing what works and learning from what didn't work.
But you knew what you were doing. I mean, martial arts was something that you started way before. I mean, it's
Yeah,
you didn't just say I'm going to start a YouTube channel and just fight.
no, it was. Look, I grew up in Park X on Wiseman and Liège and Crémazie. You know, like I mean, I had all the Haitians on one side, the Greeks on the other. We used to scrap it all the time. We used to fight. Like I mean, I was like at 9 years old. I told my parents I want to do martial arts. I want to learn how to fight. Like I mean, I would get jumped and I would have to fight, and I'd be like, so finally, like I mean, I bitched and I cried to my parents, and they finally put me in Kung Fu. And after that, I realized that's my life. I loved martial arts. I loved training, and I dedicated my entire life until today in the health and wellness and fitness and all of that. So, and that's why I said, I tell people who want to do a channel or do something, people are like, I go, what are you passionate about first? Don't just be like, let me open a channel on real estate, because real estate is, do you know anything about real estate? Do you love it? Are you passionate about it? Is this what you want to? So I start by what you love doing, and then share and give that to people.
Yeah. You talk very often about, the troubled youth. Tell me a little bit about that. You've mentioned several times on your channels about school, and just, you just weren't meant for it.
Look, I at 13, I was delivering the paper. I remember I was working already. My dad was taking me to work. I was washing the buildings with him. At 16, I was working already full-time at McDonald's. I was sleeping in class because I was so exhausted. At 17, I was sent to an adult school. And because I was going to turn 18, and I was like at grade 9, I didn't know why I couldn't learn. I couldn't focus. Mind you, I was tired, and growing up in the home that I did was not always the most stable home. So then going back to it, I went to the adult school, and then I remember I had to do an exam. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I think it's kind of funny. I did an exam, and they had to place me. And they placed me in elementary grade 4. And I had to work.
And this is you're 17 now.
Yeah. And I had to work from grade 4 to 5 to 6 and do exams. And I went up to secondary 1, secondary 2. And then I couldn't. And then I just said, you know what? Fuck it. I dropped out of school. And I just went to work full time at McDonald's. And I remember the teacher telling me, the principal saying, I'll never forget it. Telling me, I'll be surprised if you amount to anything.
That's just insane.
And I'm walking out of the class and thinking, walking out of the office, and I looked at him and I'm thinking, I'm actually dropping out of school. I'm fucked.
Well, yeah, because these are your mentors, right? You spend so much time in school. You look up to your teachers. You look up to the principal. Their advice is almost gold.
Yeah.
And for him to tell you, I don't know about you.
Yeah, it was the hardest thing. And then when I went, you're flipping burgers at McDonald's, and you're thinking, what the fuck? How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
What am I going to do in my life?
How did that resonate with your family? Like, obviously, traditional Greek family, they're very, their mindset is you're going to go to school, you're going to get an education, then you're going to get a good job. You know how it is.
I wasn't raised in a traditional family.
Okay.
My parents were like, drop out of school and go work.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were not the traditional type. We had it a lot harder, growing up. So for them, I was like, well, whatever. They didn't, like 18, I was out of the house. Like I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. I took my stuff and I left, and I'll figure it out. And then at 18, 19, I wanted to go back to school. I gotta go get a fucking high school diploma at least. I couldn't even get a job anywhere. And then I heard about a study that back then it was like they talked about ADHD.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I have this learning disorder that I just can't figure it out, and dyslexia. And then I went to the Children's Hospital, and they were doing a study for young adults, and I volunteered. I wanted to know, is there something wrong with my fucking brain?
Yeah.
And then I did the exams and the test of ADHD and everything, and at the end, the doctor's like, well, you have ADHD. There's low, mild, high. You're at medium ADHD, and you have minor dyslexia. This is why you have problems concentrating, focusing, and learning. So I said, oh, okay, so what do I do? What do I do? He goes, well, the first thing, you would need medication, right, to help you. And I remember saying okay, so I go, so how does this work? Like, I take the pills and I'm smart, I'm off them, I'm dumb. I don't know anything. We're talking about fucking 20 years ago. I'm 42.
Yeah.
Like more than 20 years ago. And he goes, well, pretty much. Like you need to take your medication and you need to go to like, we would need to set you up at a special school to help you learn the way you learn. And I said, and I go, you need the pills. I said, look, doc, I said, call me stupid, call me dumb, but I'm not putting this stuff in my body.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, back then I was ready. I already had a holistic approach on, I eat well, I exercise, you know what I mean? I wanted to be healthy. And I was like, I don't know the long-term effects. And thank God I never took it because there is long-term effects to this shit. And I just basically said, fuck it. I never went back to school and I'll figure it out on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't an easy ride.
Yeah.
I fucking failed. I fucked up shit. Like you can't believe it. You know, then I was like, okay, I went to work on Saint Laurent Street. I was working in clubs as a doorman, as a bouncer. And it was a roller coaster ride for me. But, you know, you know, sometimes when I think about today, and it's interesting because I was talking to a friend a couple of days ago, and people always ask me, how did you get to where you are? I said, one, and I say it openly. I was 23, 24. My life crashed. I mean, you get to the point where you're rock bottom, where you know, like you can't hit any fucking lower. Any lower, it's because you're thinking of fucking, you know, jumping off a bridge and you're like, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided to see a coach, a therapist, whatever you want to call her. And I say it openly because I think if you haven't seen one in your life, you probably have issues because we all have issues, and it's about being able. And then I embarked on this journey with her, and you know, until today, she's there as a mentor, as a coach, and she's been a very big influence in my life. And ever since then, I just took baby steps and learning how to learn and teach myself, reading, listening. You know, I'm more auditory, so you know, listening to podcasts, listening to influential people, reading books, and learning how to teach. That's why you have whiteboards all over the gym. I have my own system that I created through trial and error on what helps me function.
Mm-hmm. Do you come across people that have, you know, the same problems or the same issues? I mean, do people look up to you now for you to guide them?
You know, it always freaks me out when I do, because I'm like, I always think like
you're questioning if you're the right person.
But yet I might not have the educational degree.
Yeah.
But I have the fucking life experience.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been through so much. I mean, marriage, divorce. People come to me for relationship. I'm like, I'm single and I'm divorced. Why are you coming to me? They're like, Nick, because you've been through all the shit that I'm thinking of going through, and how can you help me? Like, you know, I have a friend of mine, you know, he's probably on the brink of divorce. Like, Nick, like, when do you know to pull the plug? When do you? I'm like, that's the tough question, and I'll coach him. And then I have young, you know, I train like 20-year-olds who already are lost in life or feeling depressed, and it's like, and sometimes it's weird because I look at these kids and I'm like, this one kid, I'm like, you have everything, man.
Yeah.
You have fucking great parents. Your parents have money. They're helping you. They're supporting you during school. And you're stressed out over life? Are you fucking kidding me?
You look at what you went through and you're like, dude, you have no idea what hard is.
Fuck, man. You know what it is to be like 18, 19 out of the house on your own, flipping burgers at McDonald's, and can't make your car payment, and you know, you go to your dad and he tells you it's your car, your problem, figure it out. And you got to borrow money from a friend to make a car payment, to sell it until you get back to your feet to buy another. God, man, fuck, it's hard. So, but all this has made me people tell me I'm extremely resilient.
Mm-hmm.
I'm resilient.
Yeah, well, I was going to get to that when you were just saying that. I'm like, obviously you don't want to go through that journey, right, in your life. You want to have, you know, quote unquote, the most normal childhood. But the fact that you had all these challenges to overcome, it kind of obviously contributed to the person that you became today.
It took me the hardest thing to learn to say, I wouldn't change one thing in my life to be sitting here next to you.
That's difficult to say, knowing what you've been through.
Yeah, and I say it because it made me, and it forged my character, my personality, my resilience. I would say as well, people who know me, my kindness.
Yeah.
and my care for people. I actually care. As a trainer, I actually care about my clients. I actually, they come here to train, physically train. But I'm like, I always tell people, with these walls I've heard, you can't imagine. Because when people train, there's also an emotional aspect that comes out. And people break down. Everybody's going through so much shit. And sometimes you see the happiest people who are smiling are the ones who are suffering the most. So I let people know, don't be fooled by that, But to go back to that resilience, I wouldn't change it for anything. And today, people are like, I'm fearless in the sense that, I did my men's talk show. We had the idea with Andrew. A month later, we were filming. Yeah. What if it fails? The word failure doesn't exist.
Just
to me,
do it. Yeah.
Failure means I did it a certain way that didn't work. I'm going to try it another way. And so that fear, it doesn't exist in me anymore. So I'll start any project. I'll do anything.
But that's also the wonderful thing about, the whole online world, right? Where it's just a Facebook. It's just a YouTube show, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
You're absolutely right. And at the end, I say, it's my show. You don't like it? I already swear.
You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
You don't like it? Fuck off. Go see somebody else. Go listen. Go see the next guy. Just like you. It's your show. You could say what you want. You could, whether somebody's offended by what you say, guess what? Turn the channel and listen to somebody else.
But see, this is what I love about these platforms, right? Very little cost to enter. You can do whatever you want, and you don't have to go all the way out, right?
Yeah.
It's a little cell phone. We're talking about before we went online, how cell phones are becoming so amazing, photos and videos. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
With today, the access that we have, I tell people, you have no reason not to be able to pursue your dream. And what I mean by that, if your dream's to be a photographer, if your dream's to be a movie artist, if your dream's to be, you could learn and self-teach yourself anything with all the access that you have. You have no excuses, I tell people. Yeah. And it doesn't got to be big. Like I did a movie for the Montreal Greek Film Festival. Finally, it's coming out, and it's probably going to be coming out next month that we're going to be launching it. And I'm like, my dream was to be an actor. Guess what? I'm not going to wait for a producer to call me. I'm going to create my own show. Yeah. I'm going to create my own movie. I'm going to write my own movie, produce my own movie. And I'm not going to wait for anybody to give me opportunity.
And on top of that, with all the visibility and the followers that you have, it's so easy to share these things.
I've gotten people from LA who've called me, watched my videos, what I do. I've had interviews with different people who want to already put me in movies in the future. And just that. But here's the number one thing, because I'm coaching somebody right now in the Netherlands. And I go, you just got to have the balls to put yourself out there. And the real scary thing why people don't do it, they're afraid that they're going to be not good, that they're going to be shit, that somebody's going to laugh at them, make fun of them, that they're not going to be to the standard. And I said, don't wait till you become great at something. Start and become good as you do it. Because you're never born, or you're never going to be great at it the first time. It's with time that you become better and better and better and better.
But I think you nailed it. More than anything, I think it's the concern they have about what people might say. Yeah. Right. And I've seen that. Look, I spent 11 years in politics, and I've transitioned into business. I'm working with my wife, and we're developing her family business, which is in commercial cleaning. And people are telling me, they're like, what? Like, how do you go from politics to cleaning? And I'm telling them, well, because if you put down the hours I used to put in, like, I had no life, there was no schedule. Yeah. It was just put it in whatever amount of hours a day, whatever amount of hours a week. And when you're looking at the end result, you're thinking, how could I have been so dumb? Not that I judge everything that I've done. Yeah. I loved my job before. But when you're seeing that the alternative exists and it could be better, you don't care what people have to say. And it still happens, right? It still happens. I run into so many people that are like, so what's going on? Are you open? I'm like, first of all, I'm always open. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't really want to. Yeah. We're home with my wife every single day in the morning, because obviously the most of the work is in the evenings and at nights. Very few parents have the opportunity to have the kids at home all day. My kids aren't in school yet, right? So no one has this opportunity, and and my wife made me realize it because I mean she's been doing it for a number of years now, and in the beginning it was just so difficult, man. The transition. I remember like after we lost the elections in 2018, like a couple of days later, I wake up and it's like 10:30. You know, the kids bouncing on me, and I was thinking, what am I doing here? I'm not supposed to be home, you know. And I just slowly, you know, transitioned into that, you know, quote unquote normalcy where, you know, maybe this is normal.
It's true because sometimes we're chasing the wrong goal.
Yeah.
And we realize, is it really worth it what we're doing it? And I always tell people, ask yourself, what is the real motive behind what you're doing?
Yeah.
What is the real purpose of, you know, your goal, your objective, your overall mission? You need to know that, or else you're moving forward really not knowing where you're going.
But you can very easily be blinded, right? Like
Yeah.
I enjoyed what I did. I mean, you know, there was many times that I just wanted to leave because it's difficult doing politics. It's very challenging, and it takes a toll on everything. It takes a toll on you, on your life, on, you know, your marriage, your family. Like it takes its toll, right?
And you know what's, sorry, I'm cutting you off, and you're saying something interesting because those are important things that we neglect. We neglect sometimes our family, our wives, our kids, for work and our career. But the base of why we're doing it is for them. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, how much more can you take in?
Yeah, exactly. So no, but that's the thing. You think that this is it. This is what I'm doing, and you know, you're doing it for so many years. Your mind has almost gone on automatic.
Yeah, you're right. Good point.
So you're like, okay, this is it. This is my life, and this is what I'll be doing. And you kind of condition yourself to enjoy it and to like it and to make the best of it, right? And then when something else comes along, first of all, that transition is, at least for me, and then you're still questioning yourself. I mean, you're like, is this what I should be doing? I mean, I'm not sure, and we're lost. You know, I had on the podcast this guy Harold Fortin, who was the Premier's communications advisor. So this guy, like, if I thought my life was all over the place, like this kid's life was. Like, he didn't have one. Okay. You know, he didn't have one. And he was telling me, like, after we went off air and we're just talking, and he's like, you know, I'm not sure what I want to do. And I'm like, dude, you work for the fucking Premier. You know what I mean? You can do whatever you want. He's like, George, it's not that simple, man. It's not that obvious. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what? I'm like, all these contacts you've made. And then towards the end of his career, he was his international affairs advisor. So he's made contacts all over the world. And maybe it was too soon after the elections. I don't know what it was, but I mean, he's doing well now. He's on radio and he's on TV, and he joined the consulting firm. But even him, he was questioning. And I always thought that, dude, you make it to the Premier's office, you're set. There's no problem.
I guess you know, when from that, I don't know what the logistics are behind that, and what are the perks, or what you get or what you don't get. But it you know, I mean, I want to go back to something that's so interesting, is that you said, is that so many people live according to, you know, other people's values. You know, we're Greek traditional. We live to make our parents happy. We live to make we care so much about what other people think, because, I mean, sadly, our society is kind of built like that sometimes. And I tell people, true freedom, you are truly, truly 100% free when you do not care what anybody thinks, and you live your life under your terms and your conditions. I consider myself completely free. I live life under my terms. I have nothing to prove to anybody. I don't owe anything to anybody. So I do what I want, how I want. Do I care what people think? There's a handful of people that I care about their opinion, because I value their opinion, because I respect them as well. I'll go to them, what do you think? And I'll ask all 5 of them and get all their opinion. But at the end, it's my life. I can only make that choice.
Yeah. Tell me about being a parent and how that changed everything, given the circumstances and given you know, the situation that you were going through. How does that change things?
Wow. You know, fuck, it's so hard to talk about this. It changed me so much, in the sense that whatever I didn't get, I made sure to give it to my son.
Yeah.
I'm living my childhood through my son, as well as everything that a father should give, or that I didn't get, I said to myself, I will make sure that my son gets everything. Maybe I'm actually compensating because I give him way too much, but I want to give him the life that sometimes I wish I had.
Yeah.
I never traveled with my dad. I never played with him. So I do as much as I could with him, and I try to be as best. And I also, it's a chance for me to heal my childhood wounds, whatever was left as a child. By giving my son all the love, I feel like I'm also ending a vicious circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel that I'm giving my son something back, and at the same time, I'm also getting something out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm also proud to say, you know what? I do the best that I could for him. And that to me is amazing, because at the end, you know what I mean? It's like, how much more can I take in for myself? It's about sharing with the people you care and you love.
And it gives I guess more purpose to what you're doing, right? I mean, it keeps you going. It's tough to run a business. I mean, because that's what it is. People think that you're just a guy putting up videos on YouTube.
No,
You know what I mean?
You know, we're opening a gym now. Like, I mean, I have my studio here, but we're opening a gym, and I have my son on the weekends. And sometimes I feel so bad because he's like, Daddy, you know, and I'm divorced, which is another fucking tough thing to deal with.
Yeah.
And then I have him on the weekends. I work 10, 12 hours a day. I have him on the weekends, and I sometimes have to catch up on my work, but then he wants to spend time with me, so I'm juggling. So I take him to my meetings. Yeah. We went to see a location. I'm like, okay, no, you know what? You got to come with me. We got to go see a location. It's only going to take an hour. He's like, okay. So I bring him to the location. No, what do you think? You think it's nice? Oh, yeah, Daddy, it's cool. He's like, okay. Sit down. I just have him. It's only going to take half an hour. And then I'm talking to the guy about renting the space. What's it going to cost? Square footage, this, that. And he's sitting there. Part of me feels bad. The other part feels like me. No, fuck, it's good, because he's learning about business and he's listening and the hustle. And I'm being an example as a father of what I want my son to be raised as. So at the same time, I'm still contributing to his personal growth. And it's crazy because, again, I listen to Jordan Peterson. I listen to, Sadhguru. Like, I listen to different speakers, and I make him listen to everything.
And does he listen or?
No, he's playing. I don't care, because he's still recording it somewhere. Yeah. So I'll play it in the car. I'm like, no. He goes, Daddy, I don't understand. I go, just listen to it. Don't worry, I'll explain to you after. Yeah. Because I want to make sure, because the important thing as a father, I tell people, is I want to make sure that I raise him as best as I could with the least amount of damage that I could do, and give him all the tools that I didn't get, that when he gets older, that he's completely independent of me. Yeah. That's the way I see it.
But he's 11, 12, you
11,
said?
yeah.
He's realized, what's going on. He knows, he understands now that, YouTube, and you're this big guy and you're doing videos, and
yeah, he sees it.
Does he comprehend the whole, social media frenzy?
He does, because even kids in his school have seen my videos.
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He's like, yeah, I saw your dad on. Yeah, he's pretty good. He sees it, but he doesn't understand what goes behind it. He's not with me during the week. He doesn't know how much I work. Yeah, he sees it on the weekend, and I purposely, like I said, sometimes I'll bring him to meetings just so he could listen and try to learn and understand. And he doesn't know the hours of work. Like, people always tell me, oh, I want to open a YouTube channel. I'm like, do you know what's involved in it? How many hours? And I had a guy friend open a YouTube channel, and he's like, man, it's fucking hard, and I'm not making any money, and I'm putting all these hours. I'm like, what did you think it was?
Because you're thinking about making money. That's the thing.
If motivation, and I tell people, if you're motivated by money, you are setting up yourself for failure. Yeah. Because if the money doesn't come as fast as you want, you're going to end up quitting what you're doing, because hey, I'm doing this
disappointed,
and I'm not making money. And I'm like, look, tell yourself for the next 1 to 3 years, you're not going to make a penny. Yeah. If you're willing to say that to yourself, then you're good. If you do, it's a bonus. If you don't, doesn't matter. You keep going forward.
But just to get back to your kid, this is what I find amazing, especially in your in your scenario, you're documenting your entire life, right? Because it's not only about self-defense videos. You do a lot of motivational stuff. You do a lot of personal development, and you're putting everything out there. And what's amazing is that, especially for your kid, eventually when the time comes where he's going to be at that age where he's going to understand more, that he's going to want to learn more, everything is documented.
Yeah,
that's the amazing
you know what?
thing.
I've done my like a lot of motivational stuff. I've held back to share a good 30-40%. So even though people hear, I only say what, as I've heard people say, well, you share your life. I'm like, actually, no. You think I'm sharing I'm sharing what I feel comfortable for you,
well, obviously,
and the listeners. But there's other stuff that maybe I'll share when I'm 50. And it's, I actually registered my book called My Dyslexic Life.
Okay.
And I got that I'm going to be working on with a ghostwriter in the next couple of years. And that's when I'm going to spill, really share my life. And it's kind of scary at the same time. So when people tell me, you only know part of it, which I feel comfortable enough to share. And when people say, oh, wow, it sounded like you had it hard. I'm like, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? And for me, it's kind of, yeah, okay. I don't, it's not as, I don't see it because I've worked with, and I've met other people where I'm like, wow, my fucking, my father tells me his childhood story or what I know of it. And I had a vacation. I had a vacation. Yeah. Everything is relative. Yeah. Relative. It's perception and relativity to, I had it much better than he had it, and he had it a lot worse than he had it, and so be it. And so go on, So
let's talk a little bit about your channels. This is what I love about what you do. And that's what attracted me to your channel way before, I had seen you anywhere else, like through common friends or whatever. It's real. There's no BS. There's no choreography. You get attacked in the street. You're not going to be thinking about step 1, 2, 3. That's just what I love. Eye gouging, just fucking break his nose, hook his lip. It's just different, and you don't see a lot of these things.
See, they made a blog, and they said the top 5 self-defense channels, the most real, and they put me in number 1. I was interviewed by McDojo Life, who these guys bash everybody. Yeah. And the guy's like, you're the most real guy I've seen. And that's why he wanted to interview me. And I think one of the reasons why I'm so authentic in what I teach, one, I worked in clubs for like 7-8 years. I was a doorman. I saw real shit happen. And my source of teaching comes from that. The second thing is I teach real, I've put all my years of experience and training together, and I teach from a place of experience and completely authentic and real. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to, I tell people, and I said this on another podcast, I go, we as a self-defense instructor have the social and moral responsibility to teach people self-defense. The last thing I want is somebody learning something stupid that's going to get you killed. Hurt, right? I always think about my son's going to watch these videos. Do I want to teach him something stupid that's going to get him killed? No. And millions of people watch my videos. And the last thing I want is to get an email saying, you know what, I did what you said and I got fucking stabbed. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I can't.
First of all, there's always a possibility for anything.
Yes, it could happen. Yeah. But I've made a video where I'm teaching, mugging against knife. A guy's in close quarter, he wants your money. Well, in the video, I taught how to give your money. The strategy, even giving your money. Take a step back, move your arm forward, give him the money, put the money down, create distance and space. Nobody does that. They'll all teach you something stupid that's going to get you killed. But maybe at that very moment, that's the best way for you to survive. And you're willing to die for what's in your pocket. That's your choice. I tell people that's your own personal choice. Would I do it? Maybe yes, maybe no. It depends on the circumstances.
But there's obviously a base in what you teach. You studied martial arts, and this is what you mentioned partly. Most of it comes from your experience as a doorman, like real life, close quarters, or. So this is something that you created. Then your style of fight is something that you've taken all these experiences and you've created your kind of way of fighting.
I took all the martial arts that I've done over the years, And then when I started working in clubs, I realized, okay, grappling is great, but I'm not going to grapple a guy in a staircase. So what's the benefits of grappling? You know, boxing is great, but if the guy's got a knife, I'm not going to box him. I got to trap the knife. So through trial and error, right, I started dissecting stuff. I'm like, okay, how do I create a simple system that, like, in 3 months, I could teach you everything you have to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it's just training over and over and over. It's about repetition after that. It's about learning less and training more.
Yeah. Have you ever had anyone come back and say, oh my God, dude, thanks for that video. It saved my life. I was in this situation or in that situation. And thank God, I follow your channel, or thank God, for everything that you've taught me. Like, have you got any feedback from either, students or people that are...
I've had many, but two that really, like, I really saved their life. One of them was in the States. The guy was like in some kind of concert outside.
Yeah.
And there was a fight, and the guy pulled out a knife, and he had watched my video how to use a chair against an improvised weapon. And he goes, he knew no martial arts, he knew nothing. He had just seen my video. And he goes, I picked up the chair and I started waving it and screaming. And everybody kind of made a circle because everybody was scared because he was holding a knife. And by fluke, I hit his hand without, just complete fluke. The knife dropped, everybody jumped in. But he goes, those few seconds saved my life. And another guy in the UK, he got stabbed with a knife. He had watched one of my videos. He goes, I got stabbed once. The second time, I remember your video, you were saying, like, trap the knife. I just trapped. He goes, I remember, I just trapped. I held on after getting stabbed once, and I just started hitting the guy. So he goes, had I not trapped that knife, I maybe would have got stabbed 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So, I mean, those little things will make the entire difference.
It's incredible. I'm listening to you talk, and we're lucky to be living in a city where there's not much going on.
No.
I mean, you can be unlucky and come across some
violence.
violence.
It's pretty crazy because I went out 2 weeks ago, and I don't go out much. And most of the shit that I've seen happen was working in clubs. You got alcohol, you got ego, or male testosterone. Everybody thinks he's a tough guy. Girls are watching, and I'm outside a club, and there's a fight about to break out, like 3, 4 guys against another 2 guys, and somebody got involved. And right in front of me, I haven't seen one in years. And I'm like, oh shit, that's why I haven't seen a fight. I don't go out anymore. A big brawl, and I'm like, I'm about to get involved, and finally it broke up, and I'm always like careful because you don't know who's who. Somebody, like, I mean, nobody was in threat, because if I felt somebody was in threat, then I would have jumped in. Yeah. But it was like they threw a few punches, then they started talking. I was still there, present to like kind of scope, and I would have jumped in if I had to do anything. But then it was just kind of diffused, and. But I mean, relatively, we live in a safe.
It's pretty safe. Like, I can think of some American cities where, you go out past a certain time, you're risking your life.
One of the trainers I fight, Davis Dos Santos, he's a pro fighter. The guy's a beast. He's an animal. He went to Brazil. He was born in Brazil. Yeah. He grew up in the favelas, like in the streets, right? Yeah. He slept on a beach for months. He was telling me a story.
I don't even want to pass by there like in a helicopter.
He went, and like he went dressed like with his track pants and everything. To him, he's rich right now, right? So he walks in the favela, and he's about to go in, and he goes, "There's this kid." He pulls out a gun on me.
Wow.
And he goes, "I'm a trained fighter." He goes, "I shit my pants."
Obviously,
because they have like people making sure who comes in. And then he goes, I don't know if it was his sister or his cousin, ran down. They started talking, and then finally they let him in. Once they let you in, you're kind of like more or less safe. But he goes, these kids, they will shoot.
Yeah. I'd be afraid of kids more than an adult, because you don't know how they think, kids.
Yeah,
you have no idea.
But he goes up to the kid. He goes, "Mano, 14, a gun, pistolet, bomb." He's telling me the story, and I'm like, and here's a trained fighter, and he's like, they don't fuck around there.
You don't mess around. There's a funny story because my wife is Colombian. So
no way, shit.
But see, this is the reaction I usually get, and I was surprised when we actually went to Colombia. There's all these stereotypes, unfortunately, because it's such a beautiful country, and you don't see any of the idea of narcos,
Pablo Escobar.
Like, I'm sure that if you go somewhere far, like in the regions or in the mountains, there's obviously stuff going on. But the major cities have been cleaned up, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful country. And one of her aunts had or her brother had like this villa or whatever. So she gave it to us for a week. And it was off in the north, like Cartagena, Yeah. And it was very secluded. So a very poor area, But there's some wealthy people that have and it's all cordoned off, right? Like I mean, you have high walls, you know. So you have people going there with yachts. Like very few people actually go from the village. So it was an amazing place, right? And there was this couple that was taking care of everything. And at some point he goes, "I'm gonna go to the city. If you guys want to come, if not, stay here. But if you want to go and check it out, I have to come with you." So I was like, you know what? Let's just go. We had to take out money also for some other stuff. So we were walking, and it's exactly what you said. There was like 5-6 kids. They just circled around us, and they know the guy. I mean, he knows everyone, and he just gave them money, and he knew he came prepared, right?
Yeah.
So I see these kids coming around. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like I told you, I'm afraid of kids more than anyone else. So the guy just gave money, and they're like, "Hey, okay." And they're like all happy, like they knew each other, but he still had to pay the pass, you know. And I was like, "Fuck this shit!"
And they'll fucking shoot you, man.
I don't think they had any weapons, but then again, who knows, you know? Yeah. But it was an eye opener, man. It was like, Jesus Christ, man.
So I tell people when I hear people complain, we live in the greatest country in the world. Like, I mean, it's not perfect like no other system, but I mean, we don't live in a constant fear, fight or flight that somebody's going to fucking bomb us and planes are going to come down. This country gives you the opportunity to become and do anything that you want.
And we usually take it for granted, right? We're like, it's not perfect. My welfare check wasn't what I expected. Dude, you're lucky you have one.
Seriously. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. But no, we are lucky. We are lucky. And you see what happens all over the world today, and you're thinking, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, it's and this is again when we talk about like being an entrepreneur and opportunity. I always tell people when they try to, tell me they don't have the opportunity and they're not getting that good job or their career. I'm like, bro, nobody's to blame but you. Nobody. I'm sorry. If you think it's your government's fault, if you think it's your parents' fault, if you think it's your mother, your father, it's your fucking life, bro. You are 100% accountable for every little thing. I say, the moment that you could, and this is what the moment you can say, I am 100% accountable for everything that has happened to me. I'm 100% accountable, and I take full responsibility. Until you can't say that, you will never grow. Mm-hmm. And then when you could say that, say, I'm also the one who attracts the people that are in my life. I choose to keep them in my life. Mm-hmm. Everything that happens to me, I somehow attract it through the universe, through God, or whatever you want to believe in. I believe we are an energy field, and we bring in or we reject, and that is, again, we're 100% responsible of our life.
Yeah, it's amazing that you say that, and a lot of people blame their circumstances, right?
Wait, sorry, I got to say something, right? I was talking to somebody, like, oh yeah, but you understand, I left the house when I was young. I go, yeah, so did I. Well, I don't even have a high school diploma. I don't either. Well, I wasn't raised in money. Me neither.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your story?
You see, look, a lot of people just don't have the examples, right, to look up to. They've made their minds think a certain way.
Because it serves them.
Yeah.
It serves them because it's easy to settle. It's easy to say, I tell people, okay, it's not that bad. Guess what? If you tell yourself it's not that bad, it's bad. I tell people, is it great?
Yeah.
Is it great? Like, I mean, I went through divorce, and some people tell me, oh, it's not that bad. I go, yeah, it is. It's not great. It's not what I want in my life.
Yeah.
I don't, pulling the plug on a marriage and breaking up a home, and everything that comes with it.
It's challenging to begin with, but in addition, when you add a child to the equation, yeah.
Very, very hard. And I tell people, people I know who are having relationship issues, I say, guys, let me tell you, you better give your 100% and try to make this work. It's not, don't think your life will be so much better off. I say this openly. In my case, it was the best decision I ever made. People tell me, if you do it, would you do it again? I would.
Yeah, because you don't want to stay in an environment that is just bringing you down, right? I
mean, and here's the thing. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off because I had this discussion with somebody, and they're like, well, we're staying because of the kids. And I go, you think your kids don't feel that the two parents can't stand each other?
Yeah, that's the worst thing. because you're raising them in an environment that isn't the most conducive, right?
No. And it affects the kids more than the parents who are divorced and at least could find some kind of common agreement where the kid's going to find a balance and find, okay, I have one certain life this way and I have another life that way.
Yeah.
So, it's, again, when we look at success, because I was doing another podcast and they asked me what success is. And success at the end, for me, it's not about, how much money do I have? It fucking means fuck all. I train extremely wealthy people who are happy and others who are miserable. And I'll tell you the one common denominator I found. And I always share this story. Okay. I always share this story in every podcast, every interview, because I didn't grow up with a lot. I always thought, when I make money, I'm going to be happy. If I'm rich, I'll be happy.
Big misconception.
Big misconception. And it was one of my clients. She bought her husband a Corvette for his birthday, right? I mean, this is an extremely.
I'm laughing because it's such an unrealistic image. Yeah. The way that we've been brought up, right?
like I mean, it was nothing, right? And they're extremely wealthy, yet one of the most low key people you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
And I said to her, she goes, I bought him a Corvette for his birthday. I'm like, I started laughing. And I know these people, they're like family. I've been training them for years. I'm in and out of their house. I know their kids. I train their kids. So I'm like, let me ask you a question. I got to ask you, how does it feel to have so much money that you could do anything you want to do? And she told me, she goes, Nick, first, you have to understand, I wasn't raised in money. We grew up in a middle class. My parents worked hard, and we only saw money a lot later. And she goes, I'll tell you something. You see, all this means nothing without the love of my husband and my children and the people around me. And then I realized it's the quality of your relationships that determine somebody's happy. Loving and being loved, there's no price to that. Mm-hmm. And once you fully understand that, your success becomes, I want to be successful because I want to have enough to be able, like I tell people, how much money do you need? So when people tell me, I'm kind of jumping into something important too. I tell people, define your ideal life. Put a price tag of how much your ideal life would look like. How much do you need? 100, 200, $500,000, $1 million? Yeah. Then why do you need that? In my ideal life, I'm super successful. I go to Greece every summer. I spend a month, 6 weeks. I go to Greece sometimes twice a year. Yeah. I have a nice house, modded house. I drive a nice car. I have a Jeep. I've always wanted a Jeep. I bought a Jeep. I get to travel. I have what I need. I don't need more. You know what I mean? And I said that. I said that to a friend. It's like, how many bedrooms do you need? You have 15 bedrooms. How many do you need? Like, does each dog need a bedroom too?
No, but this is the advice. You don't need a lot of bedrooms because someone has to clean them. You're like,
well, a lot of times,
how many are we? That's the amount of bedrooms we're gonna have. Forget it. We don't need any other ones.
But that, to me, that is, at the end, success is finding that balance of a happy life, a nice social life. Your kids are healthy. You're surrounded by good people. You're happy, man.
Look, I've met people that are wealthy because they were just, they were just born into the wealth. And I know people that have worked really hard and they're among the wealthiest people. Yeah. And I respect everyone. I have nothing against anyone, but there's differences in character.
Absolutely,
and you see it because, on one hand, you have someone that just had everything and is just continuing, and good for you. You're continuing. That's good. You had the lucky ticket. You were born into that family.
But you know how many people I know, the ones who are born in that, a lot of times their parents do a disservice to them.
Yeah, but it depends, right?
It depends. Not everybody. There's exception to every case.
It depends how they're brought
up. But I've met some who are born in money and never felt a purpose in their life.
Yeah,
because they just followed the money trail and they followed their parents' dream and what they're supposed to do.
I know families that fit in both categories, but I can tell you one thing, that the people that I know that started from nothing and they actually became something, or something.
Yeah.
That they reached their goals, let's say, and that they're wealthy. They're usually much more down to earth, much more open. You can just have a normal conversation with them. there's a huge difference in character, I find.
I totally agree, because you can't forget where you came from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, I was training another client. I mean, these clients are like extremely wealthy. And he was telling me his life, how he went through school, how his parents how the father left the mom and he had to work and help them. He was telling me his life, and I'm thinking, I'm in this huge house. You went through that?
Yeah.
But people never see the journey. So we look at the person who made it all the way on top, but we don't know what the person went through. You know what I mean? Like, I trained Sugar Sammy, right?
Yeah.
He's come on my show. And I remember Sugar Sammy when he did his first show at Coquino when I was working. And he picked up the mic and he's like, okay. And he was doing his thing. Yeah. People don't know he's been at this chopping away for years to get to where he is.
I remember, and I don't know how this happened. I used to get emails from Sugar Sammy. I must have been maybe in college or something. And he was promoting his shows. And he was sending emails. Yeah. I was on an email list. I don't even know how my email got to that to him. But I remember, and I was like, who is this Sugar Sammy guy, man? Fucking sending me emails. Who is this guy? You know what I mean? And back then. So, yeah, no, it's weird that, that people always look at the end result, right? Mm-hmm. And I was having this conversation with Pantelis, who you know, obviously. Yeah. And he was telling me the exact same thing. They're like, who is this guy, Pantelis, just came out of nowhere? Yeah. Yeah, just like that, man. The guy woke up and he's like a comedian and he's successful, right? People don't understand that there's so much thing happening backstage.
Yeah,
you know?
It's years. I know Pantelis too. Like, I mean, I love hearing people's stories, because most people get impressed by the end result. I want to know, how did you start? Yeah. What did you do? What was your journeys, your strengths, your failures? What did you learn on the way? Because it's the journey that actually counts, not the end result. Is like, okay, great. I mean, when you get to the end, and I tell people, like, I mean, and this is my philosophy in life. I want to climb the forest. I want to climb the mountain. But I want to make sure that as I climb the mountain, everything that I leave behind, I plant a seed. Yeah. I inspire somebody. I don't want to burn the whole forest to get on top of the mountain and look down and be like, I fucked all these people over. I did whatever I could to make it. I was cutthroat to come on top. When I hear that, I'm like, because people tell me on business, you have to be cutthroat. I go, look, maybe that's your idea. That's not mine. Yeah. I don't want to be cutthroat to make it. I want to make it with integrity all the way.
So tell me a little bit. You're behind the scenes, right? So what does like a day look like to you? Like what's your process? Because obviously, in order to make it in social media, from what I've understood, there has to be a consistency, right? You have to maintain, which I think that's what's pretty much the hardest thing to maintain, especially if you're making YouTube videos and you have a loyal followership, and they're like, oh, it's Monday. Where's the episode? Where's the show? Give us a little bit of the background. Like, what's the process?
Wow. So the process is pretty. I mean, you look at my board. I wake up. I'm up around 6 a.m. 6:30. I start training clients. In between my clients, I'm filming my YouTube videos, or I go live. In between that, I work on my men's talk show. In between clients, I'm setting up meetings for the gym that we're opening. My day finishes roughly around 9 p.m. At 9, I might watch 30 minutes of TV or just read, or I try to meditate every night and go to bed and repeat, man. That's it. I mean, and people are like, oh man, what do you, I go, I love what I do. I love what I do so much that every day I wake up and I used to work at the hospital. I worked at the Jewish, right? Mm-hmm. So before I decided to, I only opened my business, Nick Home Fit, my personal training business 10 years ago. So I was working at the hospital. People would tell me, I had a government job, and I was like, man, I hate doing this. Every day I was working from 7 to 3:30 washing toilets, and at 4 to 8 I was building my business online, my personal training business. And people tell me, well, you can't quit. You have a government job. You have benefits. I'm like, I hate what I do. Yeah. Every day waking up to the sound of an alarm clock. Every day waking up to something that it's fucking. It's like every day it's like you're slicing yourself. That's how I felt. Yeah. Slice, repeat. Now I wake up every day, whether it's Saturday, whether it's Sunday, whether it's irrelevant. I go on vacation. I can't wait to come back home and get back. I went to Greece this year, and I cut my trip short a week.
Just to come back.
To come back, because I'm like, I'm good. I feel rested. Let me come back get my shit together.
Never.
And that's it.
I would never. I would never do that.
But it's because I was excited to come back home
Yeah.
and start my routine.
But that's amazing. See, when you've reached that level where you're actually excited about doing things, you know, I don't know what to say. I can understand how you can leave Santorini.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
back.
it was the first time that people like friends, bro, is everything fine? I'm like, yeah, I want to come back home. I have new projects. Even in Greece. I mean, Greece is my. People tell me, why do you go to Greece every year? I go. It's my like I work, 8 to 12 hours a day on average. I work. You see me right now. Saturday I'm training. Sunday I'm training a couple of clients. Because I also feel I let down clients. I care about them getting better, feeling better. So I'm like, I'll figure it out. I just want to train you. I want you to feel better and get to the objective. But Greece is that when I go to Greece, man, I do nothing. I
It's
just
true,
completely
right?
disconnect.
And it's almost instant, right? As soon as you come out of that airplane, there's this relaxed thing. That
It's
you
therapy,
feel.
man. I tell people it's fucking therapy.
Yeah, I'm home.
Yeah. I go to Santorini. I tell my cousins and my family, I just want to play with the kids. I do things with my son.
Yeah.
Go to the beach, and I sometimes have to pinch myself that, holy shit, I can take off every year for a month. I would never think that would be possible.
And whenever you want.
And I'm kind of smart now in the sense that I go to Greece and I always do seminars, so the trip kind of pays off itself. I mean, I'll do a seminar, and like I went to Crete. I trained a bunch of guys, made some money.
Crete is beautiful.
Oh, it was the first time I went. It was amazing.
Oh yeah,
I loved it.
I stayed a week in Crete. Beautiful, beautiful island. Tell me a little bit about your content. How do you decide, or how do you come up with what you're gonna teach or what you're gonna film? Is this organized? I mean, do you say, okay, this month we're gonna talk about this?
Yeah, that's for like YouTube. Like now, I want to do like a series in a bar, how to win a bar fight, because you also have to use titles and stuff that are.
Yeah.
So I want to go to a club and basically film. I'll probably film 8 to 12 videos because you don't want to overdo it too much. Like you don't want to overkill it either. So I'm going to film a bar fights series, and I'm going to write down the topics, and I'm going to break them down a little bit, the PowerPoints that I want to make, and then I film everything with my phone now. And this is what I've learned, right? I used to use a production team, and it's a fortune. And sometimes the videos that I've done the best are just with my phone. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you could take your phone and film something and do really well. Other times you could put all this money and it's going to do nothing. Yeah. It's a hit or miss, right? And then lately, for the last couple of 2 weeks, because I was sick, I didn't post on Instagram. But normally my routine, like you asked me, is I wake up every morning and one on Instagram, one on LinkedIn, one on Twitter, twice a week on YouTube. Like I have a system, and I write it down, and I have to follow it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't follow it, it's easy for you to be like, I'll do it next week. So if it's written, whatever I write on my board, it means I have to follow it. Yeah. So there's no skipping or missing. I got to do it.
So there's 2 videos a week.
Yeah.
On YouTube, and then whatever the other social.
The other
media.
ones, yeah.
The bar thing is interesting though. 8 to 12 episodes, and then you're just gonna spread them out. I guess.
Spread them out, yeah. Either once or twice a week, and I have an online program. Because like as a personal trainer, there's only so many clients I could train a week, and I still like that personal thing because I could just focus on my online stuff. So I built an online program, a self-defense program online, like a course, and I sell those as well online. So, when I'm here talking to you, I'm still making sales there. Mm-hmm. I still sell 15 downloadable videos. I still make money off Facebook through other companies that take my content and give me 50%. So every month I just, get money. So I've created little, I call them turbines of money, right? So you make a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there, like just residual income where I could just scale, because it's all about scaling. I can't scale my personal training business unless I hire trainers, and I don't want to go there. But the online is where the money is and where the future is. And most important, I tell people, what is your why? Eventually, I want to like travel the world and be able to do everything remote. That's my goal. Yeah.
So your main operation is online. It's not the training.
Right now, I would say it's kind of 70 training, 30 online. I want to shift it the other way. I want to do 70 online, 30 on training. Like now I train people online. So I do coaching calls online. People like, I'm helping 2 people build their business right now. And that's fucking awesome because you open your laptop. Hey, how's it going? This and that. Boom. Okay, what did you do? Did you do this week what you're supposed to do? Yeah, let me see it. Let me check it out. Okay, this is missing. That's missing, and it's amazing.
Yeah. How do you wrap your mind around all of this success? Were you even I mean, you mentioned it a little earlier, but all this growth that happened over the course of the last 10 years. Have you like realized everything that's happened? I mean,
no, honestly, no, because I know it's gonna sound weird what I'm gonna say. I don't see myself as a success in the sense that
because you keep setting
new
objectives,
I keep
right?
objectives like now, like I mean I sold myself short, and now I set up so high the bar of what I want, like you can't imagine what my dreams are and my goals are. But what I'm most proud of is not my success on YouTube or my training. What I'm most proud of, and I don't want this to sound condescending in any way, I'm most proud of who I've become and what I've done, and against all odds and against the traditional way the system is made, against all the cards stacked against me, I'm more proud of who I've become as a father, as a person, as a coach, what I'm giving back more than the numbers.
Yeah.
That I'm like, fuck. I look at myself, I'm like, Nick, fuck, you did it, man. Yeah. You did it. Like, I mean, you got to remember, I'm at McDonald's flipping burgers thinking, the fuck am I going to do in my life? I have no high school diploma, I remember, I'll tell you a funny story. I applied for the casino.
Yeah.
Right. And at the time I was training a guy, I was like 22, 23. I was doing martial arts, and I was training a guy who worked at the casino, and he was a pretty high position. I said, Remy, should I say his name? I said, can you get me a job at the casino? He goes, yeah, sure, man. Like, I mean, security and everything. I'm like, great. He goes, you have your high school? I'm like, yeah, I got my high school. I used to lie, right? So he gets me the interview. First interview, okay, they call me back. Second interview, great. You got the job. You got to go for a physical. I go for a physical, for everything that, the doctor checks you out. Then they call me. They're like, okay, can you send us a copy of your diploma? I'm like, fuck me. They've never asked that shit. So I call my best friend, Eddie. I'm like, Eddie, give me your diploma. He's like, what are you going to do? I go, I got to forge it. And this is like, I'm like 22 now, 20 years ago. So I forged a diploma. I made a copy. I copy pasted. Back then I was already fucking copy. Like I was a hustler, man. I grew up in the streets. I knew how to fucking make shit happen. I'm like, they're not going to check. They're just probably they want to see it. So I forged it. I sent it in.
They called the school?
They called me because I didn't know. I think it's RCMP or GRC that does a background check. Think about it. I didn't think about that. Yeah. You're going to casinos, millions of dollars, all kinds of shit. So the woman calls me. She's like, yeah, it's Mr. Drossos. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. She's like, we're having a problem finding your diploma. Did you actually complete it? Did you finish high school? I'm like, well, kind of. Thank you very much. Click. I'm like, fuck me, man. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, no, they take it seriously. The background check, and it makes sense, right?
I didn't think they were gonna do that. And I mean, until today, like, I mean, my goal is to go back to high school when I'm like 50. Like, I mean, maybe not 50, but at a certain point, I want to go back and I want to do it just personally for me and be like, finished. But again, the hard part is, and we talked about it, like. Having ADHD, and I don't like to label it because whatever, I sometimes even question it if it's real. Dyslexia is real. Mm-hmm. Dyslexia is real. When you see, like, I mean, if it wasn't for, like how autocorrect, I write like I'm a 5-year-old. It's not my fault. The B's, the C's, and the D's, and the numbers, and there's certain stuff now I don't do. Like, mm-hmm. I mean, I was in Men's Health magazine. I wrote an article. I'm like, send it to a writer, copy it, make sense out of it. Like, I mean, I'm a much better speaker and listener. Yeah. Because people who meet me, they're like, you can't have, like, I mean, you don't sound like you have. Yeah, but it's because it's more in reading and writing. And that's when you figure yourself. I always tell people, the most important thing you need to learn is figure out your own algorithm. Figure out what makes you tick. Figure out what are your highs, what are your lows, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Once you figure out your algorithm, then you could start working on what you want to do.
But that's what I love about your other channel there, the Have the Balls to Talk About It. Because you address issues like this, and sometimes it's taboo, right? People are afraid to talk about these issues.
Our men's talk show is I love it because, I mean, I was with Andrew here sitting, and he's a urologist, and a client of mine asked me, I mean, a men question, you know, hey, you know, are you as, you know, hard down there as you know, like, I said, you know, do you know? I said, look, I could ask my client Andrew, who's a doctor, and I'll get back to you and I'll let you know. Like, I mean, this is a urologist, what he does. And he looks at me and goes, fuck, Nick, man, there's so many men who just are afraid to talk about it. I'm like, yeah, we should start a show. He goes, yeah, and it should be called Have the Balls to Talk About It. I'm like, yeah. A week later, a month later, we were filming. That's how fast. Like, I mean, I have an idea where most people will sit on a whiteboard for 6 months. Me, a month later, a couple of weeks later, it's fucking happening. Yeah. And it always, again, it amazes me when I'm on this show because I always think I'm this high school dropout sitting with a doctor having a men's talk show. Like, and this is when people tell me about intelligence, we measure intelligence in so many different ways, and we measure it in the wrong way. Parents put too much stress on kids' education. I don't care if my son's not the smartest. Like, I mean, I don't put stress to him in school. I want him to learn other values and that school won't teach you.
Have you at all confronted your teachers or, you know, the principal or anyone back from, you know, the days when you were in school?
I thought about it.
Not in any wrong way.
No,
just, you know, hey.
Yeah. I thought about doing it, and maybe one day I will and go back. And what I would like to do is go to schools like Chris and his wife, Alex. She told me, would you talk like at the end of grade 6? Would you be a speaker? But I don't think they're going to like what I have to say. Because when I told her what I would say, she's like, no, you can't say that. I go, that's the thing. That's what I want to tell you. That's what I want to say. You know
but it's cool what that school does, right? They take all the grade 6ers, and there's like, because they had invited me. I actually went to speak to them. And it's just basically to tell them a little bit what to expect. You know, they're going into high school. Give them a little bit of your journey. What have you done? I can understand why they're on the fence about you.
Because
dump school. Don't worry, you're gonna be successful.
No, but here's the thing, right? I think school is very important.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be a doctor, you need school. If you're gonna be a lawyer, you need school. If you're gonna be an entrepreneur in today's society, school's gonna help, but your social skills are more important.
Yeah.
I've met some really smart, dumb people, right? Their head's been stuck in a book for so many years that they're not relatable. You can't talk to them. You can't connect to them. And at the end, if you can't connect with people, you won't be able to work with them. Yeah. Any way you look at it. So school is important. Like, I want my son to go good in school. What I won't do is stress him out over it, is make it the number one thing. Like, I want him to do his best. But look, we have to be honest. Some kids are just smarter than others. Yeah. We each have our strengths and our weaknesses. And the school system is outdated. We know that. Yet we're still trying to force these kids to be in it. And somebody like me back then, had I been 13, 14, and they told me, okay, Nick, you know what? I was an artist from that back then. I could paint, I could draw. Like, maybe I was an artist. I love philosophy. I love talking. I love thinking. Maybe like, okay, Nick, you know what? You're 13, 14. These are your strengths. We're going to have like an open school. You could pick whatever thing you want and you could focus. Oh, I could go learn philosophy. Wow, okay, cool. I want to go talk. I could learn history. I love World War II history. Yeah. I'll go learn that. Algebra, A plus B plus C minus 2. You could fucking cram it down my throat. It's never going to happen.
Because they have academic advisors, right? I've never actually met one, honestly. So I have no idea how they assess, the different interests that students may have.
But sometimes what they do, and it's wrong, and this is what I want to teach my son, is don't pick what you're good at. Pick what you love. Yeah. It's not because you're good at something. Yeah. You're supposed to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I met a lawyer friend, and he basically became a lawyer because he wanted to make his parents proud. And he told me, I fucking hate it, man.
No.
He goes, I envy you, bro. I go, me? I go, bro, you're a fucking lawyer, man. You make all kinds of money. He goes, yeah, but it's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's very common because, especially with Greeks, are like, oh, Yos muni dikikoros. My son is this. They put all this pressure because you know why? Parents see it as a reflection of their success or their failures. So,
at the same time, they want you to be positioned the best way possible to succeed in life, right? So, you talk to my dad or my mom, they don't understand what's going on online. They don't understand. You know what I mean? For them,
they're probably like, "Ты cancel the podcast. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you going to talk to people now? What is this? What is this stupidity? Who are you now? Oh, you think you're a radio guy? Who knows?"
Yeah, but you know what? Look, anyways, at this age, they can understand that. I don't care.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, they just want to put their kid in the best path possible to succeed. And for them, it's, look, you got to find a good job, right? You got to get well educated, so they're thinking in their mind, you got to become a doctor, you got to become a lawyer or an accountant. For some reason, an accountant is ranked up there. No offense to any accountants out there, but I don't think they're doing it because that's what they want to impose. They're just doing it because
I think there's a selfish and egoistic
you think so?
Intention. Yes, I do. Because the parent is going to be my son.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Like, I mean, because at the reality, and again, what I practice and I preach and I lead by example. That's why when people meet me on or off camera, I'm the same fucking person. I'm not, if I talk about being healthy and eating well, I eat well.
Yeah.
If I talk about exercising, I exercise.
There's definitely that kind of example. But I think in most cases, at least the people that I've met, they just don't know better, right?
Yeah.
They're like, look, we don't know. A lot of them, don't have the education. They came, they just work. They don't understand.
True. Good point.
I never had my parents help me with my homework. French.
Yeah.
My father's gonna help me with my orthographe or my lecture. They did their best, of course, and they just want to put you in that setting where you have the best chances to succeed.
That's true. Good point.
And the way they're brought up is you got to get educated.
Yeah. Which is as long as, and I say this to parents, and as long as you find that balance between educating your kid, like academically, educate him emotionally and socially, like emotional intelligence, and don't, like, I mean, I only talk about this because I also hear so many parents stress out over their kids' education. I'm like, relax. Your kid's gonna. You don't want to stress out the kid where he doesn't sleep at night because he can't do it in school.
Yeah.
In certain Asian countries, these kids kill themselves. They fucking kill themselves
because of the pressure. It's not only that, and I'm talking to you now as a parent. I have 2 little girls. They're not in school yet, and I'm worried about what is it gonna be like in 10 years from now. When we went to high school, yeah, there was bullying. Yeah, we bugged each other. We made fun of each other. But it ended. At the end of the day, it ended, right? It stopped. Right now, I mean, there's all these social media things. They have access to all these different things online.
The worst part is it follows them. They're going home, and the girl's like, you see this bitch, you see this asshole, and they'll take pictures, and they'll share them. So you're at home.
Like, that scares me the most.
And you know what? Like, we, on our men's talk show, we had a child psychologist, an educator, and her specialty is bullying.
Okay.
And she talked about cyberbullying, the different type of bullying. And she goes, it's real and it's bad. And the difference is we lived it. I would probably say our generation was probably a little bit more tougher, and we're less in this politically offensive correctness raised. We're like, okay, fuck it. We'd say fuck you. We'd scrap it out. We'd maybe get a beating, whatever it is. Today, we're all like taught to be, don't offend and respect. And yeah, but I mean, it gets to the point where, if a kid hits another kid, they're both in trouble. I'm like, why? This kid fucking pushed him and he defended himself. Yeah. What are you teaching the kid who's not fighting back? Sit down and get a beating? Yeah. You have the right. I told my son, you have the right to defend yourself. If anybody touches you, you defend yourself. Yeah. And if I have to go to the school, I'll go to the school.
Yeah.
And I think that at the same time, we need to build our kids like strength and character, because if they're bothered by what's happening in school now, their life won't be any easier later, because your boss could be a bully, your wife could be a bully, a friend, a coworker, so whatever they're experiencing now.
Honestly, I'm not even thinking that far. I'm just thinking, okay, elementary school, maybe high school, like, what are the repercussions that all these different uncontrollable forces can have, right? I mean, we don't know what social media is going to be like in 5, 10, 15 years from now.
I know it's
right?
it's scary because I'm always trying to think. Sometimes I take time and I just think, I'm like, okay, what's the next thing coming? What can I catch on?
Yeah, and the thing is this, that you're thinking, okay, how can I prepare myself to kind of pick these things out, right? Like, my kid's going to walk home, and is she going to be okay? Can I detect certain things? Can I intervene? And, we're having this discussion now with my wife where we're like, let's just start developing this atmosphere where we're able to just communicate and just let the kids come in so they can be comfortable, whether they're happy or whether they're sad. Let's just do that, right?
That's the best approach, if you ask me. That
honestly, it just scares me, man. I don't want my kids to just be like, I can't tell my parents this, and then just suffer for like years.
I think that really depends on you as parents, myself as well, is the level of trust that I could build to my son and say, look, whatever it is, even if you fucked up, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I told my son, if you fuck something up, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to support you because you're my son. I'm going to support what is right.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, you could come to me.
My dad was like that. My dad, he's still like, he doesn't, his opinion doesn't really matter now. I mean, we're all old, but I remember going out when we were young, and he's like, do whatever you want, but just don't end up in jail because I won't come and get you out. I'm like, all right, thanks, man. Yeah. But no, that's one thing that really preoccupies me a lot. My kids are young, obviously. They're at that stage of innocence. They haven't seen things yet, right?
But you're in the crucial years of development.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm thinking about this now because my daughter, like next year, she'll be going into elementary school, right, or kindergarten, whatever it is. And
they start bullying already from there. Meaning bullying. I don't think they're aware they're bullying, and it's kind of the proof that bullying exists, and will always exist.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that we're going to get rid of it. I tell people, you guys are living in la la land. It's saying we're going to end all wars. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? And what we could do is build the child's character and strength to be able to stand up for herself at that age.
Yeah.
At that age, to be able to be like, hey,
that's wrong.
That's wrong. Don't touch me. Or even if she has to push back as somebody pushes her. And at that age, I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, but this is my opinion. And at that age, you start teaching them already self-respect and the value of themselves first.
Yeah.
And like that, they stop it, and it never becomes a behavior that's repeated where that's the girl who's going to get bullied.
Yeah, because they target you after, right? And then you just can't get away from it.
And then what happens is it becomes wired and programmed in your system where I'm a victim. Oh, here it is again. I'm getting bullied. Yeah. And then it only gets worse and worse and worse.
All right, let's close it up. I know that you're busy. Anyone watching that wants to start, dipping into their creative sense, they want to grow a social media channel, you become a YouTuber, any advice that you can give them?
First, pick content, pick something that you love doing and that you're good at. 2, don't focus on the money. Focus really on the journey and have fun with it. Be consistent. Write a plan out. Okay, I'm going to post every Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Instagram, one on LinkedIn. Like, create a system and stick to it because the name of the game is consistency.
Yeah. Quality or quantity?
Ooh, that's a good one. Quality or quantity? You know what? If I had to pick one, right? Because I would say it's a little bit of both. If I had to pick one, I would say quantity.
Yeah.
Because it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
It's a number. The more you put out there, the more chances you have of a video or something going up.
As long as you're creating.
Yeah. Quality is important. But if I had to focus more, I would downsize the quality and up the quantity.
Yeah. Awesome. Dude, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Obviously, I've been following you, and I'll continue to follow you.
George, thank you so much, man. It was a lot of fun being on your show, man. It's awesome what you're doing.
I appreciate it. And, we're doing. I'm doing my best, and like you said before, this for me is just something that's fun. All right, so if I can find people that are interesting and that can share their story, and their contribution to society, that's what I'm looking for. And thanks, man.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Cool.